Have you ever found yourself in a crowded space, surrounded by people, yet feeling utterly alone and overwhelmed? Or perhaps you've stood at the edge of a stage, about to give a speech, and suddenly your heart is racing like a jackrabbit, and your mind is a jumbled mess of worst-case scenarios. You're not alone. Anxiety is a universal human experience, yet it's often misunderstood and stigmatized. I still remember the first time I felt anxiety's grip. I was in a packed subway car during rush hour, and suddenly the doors closed and the train lurched forward. The air felt thick and my chest constricted. I couldn't breathe. It was as if the world around me had melted away, leaving only my racing thoughts and a sense of impending doom. In that moment, I felt like I was drowning in a sea of uncertainty. And if you're reading this, chances are you've had your own share of anxiety-fueled moments. The question is, what is anxiety and why do we feel it? Is it a sign of weakness or is it something more? Can we ever truly overcome anxiety, or is it an unwelcome companion we'll always carry? The truth is, anxiety is a natural response, a signal that our body sends when it perceives a threat. But what if I told you that understanding anxiety is the first step toward taming its power? Over the next few minutes, we're going to embark on a journey to explore the roots of anxiety, discover techniques for immediate calm, and shift our perspective on anxiety from something to be feared to something to be understood. By the end of this journey, you'll gain a deeper understanding of anxiety, learn practical techniques to calm your mind and body, and develop a new perspective on anxiety as a natural response that can be managed. So, take a deep breath, and let's begin to unravel the mystery of anxiety together. We'll explore what's happening in our brains and bodies when anxiety strikes, and I'll share with you some simple yet powerful tools to help you find calm in the midst of chaos. Anxiety doesn't have to control your life. You can learn to understand it, manage it, and live a more peaceful, empowered life. And it all starts with taking that first step, acknowledging anxiety's presence and being willing to explore its depths. I'm here to guide you through this journey, and I invite you to take a deep breath, relax, and let's dive in. With this newfound understanding, you'll be able to face anxiety head-on and develop the skills to manage it effectively. You'll learn that anxiety is not something to be ashamed of, but rather something to be understood and managed. And with the right tools and techniques, you can overcome anxiety and live a more fulfilling life. So, let's get started on this journey to understanding anxiety and discover the tools and techniques that will help you find calm, clarity, and confidence in the face of anxiety. Anxiety. It's a word we throw around a lot, but what does it really mean? You've probably felt it, that knot in your stomach, the racing thoughts, the overwhelming sense of dread. But what's happening behind the scenes? Let's dive into the science behind anxiety and explore what makes it tick. First, let's get clear on the difference between anxiety and fear. Fear is a natural response to a specific threat. For example, if you're walking through the woods and suddenly come face to face with a bear, fear is what kicks in to help you react. Anxiety, on the other hand, is more like a persistent sense of unease or worry about something that might happen. It's like having a low-grade fear that's always lurking in the background. There are two main types of anxiety: generalized anxiety and phobias. Generalized anxiety is characterized by excessive worry about everyday things: finances, relationships, work. It's like having a constant companion that's always whispering, "What if?" in your ear. Phobias, on the other hand, are intense fears of specific objects or situations. For example, a fear of spiders or heights. So, what happens in the brain during anxiety? Well, it all starts with the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure that's responsible for processing emotions. When the amygdala perceives a threat, it sends a signal to the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, which is like a complex communication network that triggers the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is a natural response that helped our ancestors survive in the wild. When faced with a threat, the body releases stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare the body to either fight or flee. But in modern times, this response can get triggered by all sorts of things: a looming deadline, a difficult conversation, or even just a crowded space. The problem is, when the fight or flight response gets stuck on, it can have a major impact on our physical and mental health. Chronic anxiety can lead to digestive issues, headaches, and a weakened immune system. It can also affect our relationships, work performance, and overall well-being. But here's the thing: anxiety is not a weakness. It's a natural response that can be managed with the right tools and techniques. By understanding what's happening in the brain and body during anxiety, we can start to develop strategies for calming the storm and finding peace. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in the rest of this video. Have you ever stopped to think about why anxiety shows up in the first place? It's like having a fire alarm blaring in your brain, warning you of potential dangers that might not even exist. But what if I told you that this alarm isn't just a random glitch? What if it's actually a messenger trying to tell you something? Let's take a step back and look at the evolutionary roots of anxiety. You see, anxiety was once a lifesaver. Our ancestors needed it to stay alert and avoid predators. It was a survival mechanism that helped them stay safe and alive. But in today's world, that same mechanism can go rogue, causing more harm than good. One of the main reasons anxiety shows up is our fear of uncertainty and the unknown. Think about it. When was the last time you felt anxious about something that was actually happening in the present moment? Usually, it's when we're worried about what might happen in the future or dwelling on something that's already happened in the past. Our brains are wired to respond to potential threats, and that can lead to a whole lot of anxiety. Then there's perfectionism and people-pleasing tendencies. Have you ever felt like you need to be perfect in every aspect of your life? Like you need to be the perfect partner, parent, or employee? That's a recipe for disaster. When we put too much pressure on ourselves to perform, we set ourselves up for anxiety. And what about people-pleasing? When we're too focused on making others happy, we can lose sight of our own needs and values, leading to feelings of anxiety and resentment. Trauma, anxious attachment styles, and past experiences can also play a big role in anxiety. If you've experienced trauma or neglect in the past, your brain may be more prone to anxiety as a way of protecting yourself from potential harm. And if you have an anxious attachment style, you might find yourself constantly worrying about being abandoned or rejected. But here's the thing: anxiety is not just a problem to be solved, it's a messenger. It's trying to tell you something about yourself and your needs. When we ignore or suppress anxiety, it can lead to more problems down the line. But when we listen to it, we can start to understand what's really going on. Acknowledging and accepting our emotions is crucial. Think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to feel anxious without judgment, without trying to fix it or push it away? It's not always easy, but it's essential. When we accept our emotions, we can start to understand what they're trying to tell us. We can start to see anxiety as a signal rather than a problem. So, take a deep breath and let's make a pact to listen to our anxiety, to understand its roots, and to acknowledge our emotions. It's time to stop fighting anxiety and start understanding it. By doing so, we can start to find peace and calm in the midst of chaos. Anxiety isn't just a feeling. It's a thief that steals moments from our lives, leaving us drained and disconnected. Imagine being stuck in a never-ending cycle of worry, fear, and self-doubt. For many of us, anxiety isn't just an occasional visitor. It's a constant companion that affects every aspect of our lives. Let's talk about the physical toll of anxiety. You might be familiar with the sensation of a racing heart, like your body's alarm system is blaring nonstop. Or perhaps you've experienced the discomfort of digestive issues, headaches, or trembling hands. These physical symptoms are like the body's warning signs, signaling that something's off. But anxiety's impact goes far beyond the physical. Emotionally, it can leave us feeling like we're drowning in a sea of worry and fear. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, your mind racing with thoughts of what could go wrong? Anxiety can make the future seem like a daunting, uncertain landscape, making it hard to focus on the present. It's like trying to concentrate on a task, but your mind keeps wandering back to all the things that could go wrong. Anxiety also affects our relationships and daily lives in profound ways. We might start to avoid social situations, fearing judgment or rejection. We might isolate ourselves, feeling like we're a burden to others. Our relationships can become strained as we struggle to connect with others when we're stuck in our own cycle of worry. And at work or school, anxiety can hold us back from pursuing opportunities, reducing our productivity, and making us feel like we're stuck in neutral. The cost of anxiety is steep. It's like having a constant background noise that we can't turn off. But here's the thing. By acknowledging the impact of anxiety, we can start to take back control. We can begin to understand that anxiety isn't a weakness, but a signal that we need to make some changes. So let's take a deep breath and start to explore ways to manage anxiety, rather than letting it manage us. By doing so, we can start to reclaim our lives, our relationships, and our sense of purpose. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a chaotic storm, with thoughts swirling around you like leaves in a hurricane. But what if you could find a calm harbor within yourself, a place where the storm can't reach? That's what we're going to explore in this section, techniques to bring immediate calm to your mind and body. You see, when we're anxious, our breathing becomes shallow and rapid, sending a signal to our brain that we're in danger. But what if we could hack into this system and calm our body and mind? That's where breathing techniques come in. Let's start with diaphragmatic breathing, also known as belly breathing. This type of breathing engages your diaphragm, the muscle that separates your chest and abdominal cavities. When you breathe diaphragmatically, your belly rises and falls with each breath, slowing down your heart rate and promoting relaxation. To try it, place one hand on your belly and the other on your chest. Inhale deeply through your nose, allowing your belly to rise while your chest remains still. Exhale slowly through your mouth, feeling your belly fall. Repeat this process several times, focusing on the sensation of your belly moving. Another powerful breathing technique is the 4-7-8 method, also known as the relaxation breath. This technique involves inhaling through your nose for a count of 4, holding your breath for a count of 7, and exhaling through your mouth for a count of 8. This cycle can be repeated several times, helping to slow down your heart rate and calm your nervous system. For those interested in exploring yogic breathing techniques, alternate nostril breathing can be a game changer. This technique involves closing one nostril with your finger and inhaling through the other. Then switch and exhale through the other nostril. This cycle can be repeated several times, helping to balance your breath and calm your mind. While breathing techniques can work wonders, sometimes we need to ground ourselves in the present moment. That's where grounding techniques come in. This exercise helps shift your focus from your thoughts to your surroundings, calming your nervous system. Another grounding technique is sensory exploration. Choose an object, such as a pen or a leaf, and focus on its texture, color, shape, and smell. Allow yourself to fully immerse in the experience, letting go of distracting thoughts. The goal of these techniques isn't to eliminate anxiety entirely, but to create micro moments of calm throughout your day. These small moments of peace can add up, helping you build resilience and navigate life's challenges with greater ease. By incorporating these techniques into your daily routine, you can develop a powerful toolset for managing anxiety and finding calm in the midst of chaos. Let's talk about mindfulness and meditation, two powerful tools that can help you find calm in the midst of anxiety. You might have heard of these practices, but perhaps you're not sure where to start or if they're really worth it. I want to share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I was going through a particularly tough time, feeling overwhelmed and anxious about everything. A friend suggested I try meditation, and I was skeptical at first, but I decided to give it a shot. I started with just 5 minutes a day, focusing on my breath. It was harder than it sounds. My mind kept wandering, and I found myself thinking about all the things I needed to do that day. But as I continued to practice, I began to notice a shift. I felt more grounded, more present, and less reactive to stressful situations. Anxiety was still there, but it no longer felt like it was controlling me. So, what is mindfulness meditation, and how can it help with anxiety? Mindfulness meditation is the practice of being present in the moment, paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. It's about cultivating awareness and acceptance of the present moment, rather than getting caught up in worries about the past or future. Research has shown that regular mindfulness practice can have a profound impact on anxiety and stress. Studies have found that mindfulness meditation can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, improve mood and emotional regulation, and even increase focus and concentration. For example, a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that mindfulness meditation reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression in patients with chronic pain. But how does it work? When we practice mindfulness, we're training our brains to focus on the present moment, rather than getting caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. This can help us develop a greater sense of self-awareness, allowing us to recognize when we're starting to feel anxious and take steps to calm down. Begin with short sessions, just 5–10 minutes a day. You can use an app or guided meditation to get started. Focus on your breath, body, or sensations. You can pay attention to the sensation of your feet on the ground, the sensation of the air on your skin, or the rise and fall of your breath. Be gentle and patient with yourself. It's okay if your mind wanders, simply acknowledge the thought and gently bring your focus back to the present moment. Remember, the goal of mindfulness isn't to achieve a specific state or stop your thoughts completely. It's about cultivating awareness and acceptance of the present moment, just as it is. With regular practice, you can develop greater resilience to anxiety and stress, and find more peace and calm in your daily life. As you start your mindfulness journey, keep in mind that it's a practice, not a performance. There's no right or wrong way to do it, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. The most important thing is to show up, be consistent, and be kind to yourself along the way. By incorporating mindfulness and meditation into your daily routine, you can take the first steps towards a more peaceful, present, and empowered you. Anxiety often feels like a never-ending cycle of negative thoughts and worst-case scenarios. But what if you could learn to manage those thoughts, to quiet the inner critic and find some peace? That's where cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, comes in. CBT is a powerful tool for tackling anxiety, and it's based on a simple idea: our thoughts, feelings, and actions are all connected. When we're anxious, we often get caught up in negative thought patterns. We might think, "I'm going to fail," or "I'm not good enough." These thoughts can feel overwhelming, but the truth is, they're often not based in reality. That's where cognitive restructuring comes in. This technique helps you identify and challenge negative thoughts, replacing them with more balanced, realistic ones. Let's say you're worried about a big presentation at work. Your negative thought might be, "I'm going to mess this up and get fired." With cognitive restructuring, you would challenge that thought by asking yourself, "Is this really true? Have I prepared well for this presentation? What are the chances that I'll actually get fired?" By reframing your thoughts, you can start to feel more confident and in control. Another technique is reframing. This is similar to cognitive restructuring, but it's more about looking at things from a different perspective. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm so anxious about this presentation," you could reframe it as, "I'm feeling excited and nervous about sharing my ideas with others." This subtle shift in perspective can make a big difference in how you feel. One of the most powerful tools in CBT is the thought record. This is a simple journaling technique where you write down your thoughts, feelings, and actions in a given situation. By tracking your thoughts and feelings, you can start to see patterns and identify areas where you might be getting stuck. For example, you might notice that you always feel anxious when you're in a crowded space. With this awareness, you can start to develop strategies for managing those feelings. But here's the thing, all of these techniques require kindness and compassion. When we're working with anxiety, it's easy to get caught up in self-criticism. Why can't I just calm down? Why am I so weak? But the truth is, anxiety is not a weakness. It's a natural response, and it's okay to feel it. Self-compassion is essential when working with anxiety. It's about treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience. When you're struggling with anxiety, it's easy to feel like you're alone, like you're the only one who's struggling. But the truth is, you're not alone. We're all struggling with something, and we all deserve kindness and compassion. So, as you start to work with these techniques, remember to be kind to yourself. Remember that it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to feel anxious. You're not alone, and you're not weak. You're strong, capable, and deserving of compassion and kindness. Takeaway: cognitive behavioral techniques like cognitive restructuring, reframing, and thought records can help you manage anxiety by challenging negative thoughts and cultivating self-compassion. By practicing these techniques, you can start to feel more in control and confident, even in the midst of uncertainty. You know, I've been there, stuck in a cycle of worry and stress, feeling like anxiety is running the show. But here's the thing, we have more control than we think. Our daily habits and lifestyle choices can either fuel anxiety or help calm it down. Let's talk about some simple yet powerful changes that can make a big difference. First up, exercise. Now, I'm not talking about becoming a marathon runner or gym enthusiast, unless that's your thing. Regular physical activity, even just a short walk or some light stretching, can work wonders for anxiety. When we move our bodies, we release endorphins, which are like natural mood boosters. Plus, exercise helps distract us from worries and can improve our sleep. For example, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that regular exercise reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression in patients. So, find an activity that brings you joy, whether that's dancing, hiking, or simply taking the stairs, and make it a part of your routine. Another crucial aspect is our diet. We've all heard the phrase, "you are what you eat," and it's especially true when it comes to anxiety. A balanced diet rich in whole foods, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can help stabilize our mood. Some foods, like fatty fish, nuts, and seeds, are packed with omega-3s and other nutrients that support brain health. On the flip side, too much caffeine, sugar, and processed foods can exacerbate anxiety. I recall a friend who struggled with anxiety and found that cutting back on caffeine and sugar helped her feel more grounded. It's not about deprivation, it's about nourishing our bodies. Now, let's talk about sleep, or rather, the elusive sleep that often feels like a luxury when we're anxious. But it's essential. When we don't get enough rest, our brains can become more sensitive to stress, making anxiety worse. Establishing a bedtime routine, creating a cozy sleep environment, and avoiding screens before bed can all help. I make it a point to wind down with a book or a relaxing bath before bed, and it's made a huge difference in my sleep quality. Relaxation and downtime are equally important. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle. But our minds and bodies need breaks. Whether it's reading a book, taking a warm bath, or simply sitting in nature, making time for relaxation can help calm our nervous system. For instance, a study found that taking short breaks throughout the day can reduce stress and improve productivity. Lastly, let's discuss self-care. This term gets tossed around a lot, but it's really about treating ourselves with kindness and compassion. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's about recognizing that we're worthy of care and attention, just as we would offer to a friend. So, what does self-care look like for you? Maybe it's journaling, meditating, or simply taking a few deep breaths throughout the day. The key is to find activities that recharge your batteries and make you feel good. Incorporating these lifestyle changes doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start small. Take a 10-minute walk today or swap out one unhealthy snack for a healthier option. These tiny tweaks can add up and make a significant difference in how you feel. So, I encourage you to experiment, be patient, and find what works best for you. By making conscious choices about our lifestyle, we can reduce anxiety and cultivate a more balanced, peaceful life. As we wrap up this journey to understanding anxiety, I want to take a moment to reflect on the key points we've covered. We've explored the roots of anxiety, from its evolutionary origins to the impact of trauma and past experiences. We've also discussed techniques for immediate calm, such as breathing and grounding, and lifestyle changes that can help reduce anxiety. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by anxiety, but I want to leave you with a sense of hope and empowerment. Remember, anxiety is not a weakness, but a natural response that can be managed with the right tools and techniques. It's like having a smoke detector in your home. It's alerting you to potential dangers, but you have the power to respond in a way that works for you. Take a deep breath and imagine yourself taking small steps towards change. Start with one technique, one practice, or one mindset shift. Maybe it's committing to a daily mindfulness practice, or simply taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath. Maybe it's challenging negative thoughts or reframing your perspective on anxiety. Whatever it is, I encourage you to take that first step. And then take another, and another, because the truth is, anxiety is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be understood and managed. You are not alone in this journey, and there is hope for a more peaceful, more present you. So, as you move forward, I want to leave you with a final takeaway. You are capable of managing your anxiety, and you are stronger than you think. With the right tools, techniques, and mindset, you can learn to navigate anxiety with greater ease and live a life that is more authentic, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, help us reach more awesome people like you by hitting the like button and subscribing. It really makes a difference. Thanks, and see you in the next one.